Hey everybody, it's Jay. Welcome to the channel. So last week I put up a video that talked about creating unique images in and around New York City. So I listened to my own advice, and on Sunday I went to a spot where really no one goes to photograph to try to create something that was a little different. I went to a spot in the Bronx. It was a series of buildings that I've passed a gazillion times on my way home, and I photographed that. So I'll walk you through the photo shoot, and stick around. I'll show you how I process one of those images in Photoshop. Two things. One, you'll see in the video I've got this brace on, still have it, pickleball injury, and it was a really bad hair day. So please forgive the messed up hair going in every different direction. Let's get started. Well, I have arrived at my destination. It is an apartment complex in the Bronx that I have passed hundreds of times on 87 north and south, which goes right by here. And I looked at it as I'm passing it quite often and said, that might be an interesting place to go shoot. And I'm finally doing it. Not your typical place to shoot in New York City, but I think it's a pretty interesting building. I'll point the camera this way. I'll show you what I'm looking at. So it's these brick towers up ahead. And I'm not sure why I find them really interesting. This may be a total dud. I'm still going to show you what I come up with, but I just like the fact that there's so much geometry in them, great angles. And I think once the sun rises, hopefully it does rise, we'll start to get some highlights on some of the windows, and you'll get more dimensionality to it as well. So I got to work this scene though, because there's a lot of places to shoot this, and there's a lot of distractions in the foreground. So I'm going to walk around and see what the best angle is. So there's a ton of distractions. I don't know if you can see it on here, but there's this netting that's blocking the view from here. There's a parking garage up ahead, obviously a ton of cars. This great looking fence here. So I'm going to see if I can go up this way. This is a school right here. Maybe there's some stairs that I can get a better vantage point from. Apologize for all the noise. Route 87 is literally going right under this practically, so it's loud. But I think from this angle, it's actually pretty good. I may not get all the towers in, but the further ones, which are interesting as well, might be the ones I focus on. Well, I climbed up these stairs, and at least I'm above some of the parked cars. I'm pretty close. I have a wide angle lens. I'm not sure I can capture all of this, but certainly those towers back there, which I think could be pretty cool. So I'm up on these stairs, and I'm really just shooting this grouping right here, these towers. The sun is up, but it's not a very hard light. There's some clouds on the horizon, so it's kind of soft. I'm not getting the contrast in the building, but I'm going to pull that out in post, I think. I'm going to create a far more dramatic image than what you're seeing now, but the basic shape I find really intriguing. It's starting to look pretty good. The sun is coming out. I may have misjudged the angle of the sunrise. I think it's kind of hitting it straight on. I really want it to come from this side, but still, again, in post I can do a lot with this. So I came into the area where people live. I'm not sure I'm supposed to be here, but I'm just getting some shots here. It's a little cleaner. Yeah, it's good. I'm not going to hang out here too long, but pretty good shot.
You gonna take photo pictures today?
Yeah, I'm taking pictures of the building.
Oh.
I'm an architectural photographer.
Oh, Okay.
I think it's a really cool building.
They're big. They're big.
Big.
I've been here 43 years.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, 43 years.
Well, I am making some friends in the Bronx this morning. I think I got some good shots in there. I'm going to still wander around. The sun is rising, so the light's getting a little bit harder, which is good. And see if I can get anything even better. Okay, one more angle, I think, for this building. I'm going to go further away, just down this street. And then I'm going to move on to my next location, I think. Well, I like this angle because it all looks like kind of one big building, even though it's not. Problem is, I got these trees on the right. I can move up a little bit, but I have this netting at the lower part of the image, which maybe I could get rid of in Photoshop. I think that's going to be pretty tough. I think I'm going to take this shot and see what I come up with. So one more vantage point. I went even further away, came down a side street. It's actually right by a park. This is Roberto Clemente State Park. For those not in the US, Roberto Clemente was a fantastic baseball player. I think he played for the Pittsburgh Pirates. If I'm wrong, put it in the comments below. But this is the vantage point. I'm gonna get this shot too. I'm just trying to be patient and continue to examine the scene. And this is kind of cool. I got these stairs that lead up, to the buildings back there. It just adds a little bit of foreground interest in it, and it really has some nice geometry to it as well. So this may be the best shot. I'm not sure. We'll see. Okay, I think I got the shot. I did a little research, and I did a Google search on interesting architecture in northern Manhattan. I don't spend a lot of time in northern Manhattan, and I think I found something that is really interesting. I'll go to my car, drive over there. It's 10 minutes away, and I'll pick you up when I get there. So this other location was a bit of a dud. I'll put up some cell phone shots I took. I think it has a lot of potential. And I walked around. I ended up getting kicked out of there by security. There was scaffolding around, so it didn't work. I'm going to re-examine that spot. There may be a better time of day to go there. Maybe when the scaffolding's off, I'll go there as well. Having said that, I got good shots on the first location. If you're not into Photoshop, I'll sign off here and say thanks for watching, and hopefully give me a like and subscribe to the channel. If you're into Photoshop, stick around. I'm going to show you how I processed one of those images in Photoshop right now. Okay, here we are in Photoshop on my computer. It turns out none of these shots were award-winning, honestly. This one I think was the best. Like the composition more than the others, a little cleaner as well. What I want to do now is show you how I turned this image into this image in Photoshop. I've already done a little bit of work in Lightroom, converted to black and white. I think I pulled down the blues a little bit, pulled up shadows, added some clarity, but not too much. And this is not a bad shot, but again, I want to, one, create more drama, and two, give more directionality from the light. So the light is really coming over my left shoulder, hitting the building. It was a soft light. It really wasn't that hard. There was some kind of light clouds in the sky. So what I want to do is basically brighten up the images that were getting hit by the light. The stuff that were at an angle, I want to darken a little bit. Again, that's going to create a little contrast in there. I have already made a number of selections of parts of the building and even parts of the staircase, and I'll show you what I did with those. And to do that, by the way, I use the polygonal lasso tool. These are straight lines, so it was relatively straightforward. I mean, the first thing I did was I wanted to darken the sky to some extent, certainly the top half of the sky. So let me open up that selection. I go to Select, Load Selection. I called it Sky. Hit OK, and you see there's that selection of the sky. I'm going to use an exposure adjustment layer. I'm going to pull down. That's going to darken the whole selection. And you see the building really starts to pop more when you do that. But I want to add a bit of a gradient to it. I just want the top half of that sky to be darker. So I'm going to reselect by going to Select, Reselect. I'm going to choose my gradient tool. I'm going to just choose the classic gradient. And from here I can pull, make sure my foreground color is white, which it is. And if I pull down from the top, you'll start to see that gradient occur. And you could just play with this over and over until you kind of get what you want. Maybe something like that. So here's the before, here's the after. I'm going to deselect by hitting Command D on a Mac. And so again, the before, after, the building tends to pop more when you do that. Let's look at the building now. So I'm going to go load a selection. And the parts that I lightened, I called lighten, called 1, 2, 3, 4. You see it here. So you'll see one of the selections back there that I made. I'm going to use a curves adjustment layer and just pull up to brighten that section of the building. Relatively straightforward. Let's go do another one. Load selection. I'll do lighten 2. Kind of that big panel right in front. Curve selection. I'm going to pull up. And you start to see the dimensionality appear. Let's do one more. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I'll show you many of them. I think it was lighten 3. Again, that kind of decent sized panel in front. Now this one, if we zoom in a little bit, the panel to the left that I just brightened is in front of that. And the sun coming from my left shoulder, there would be a slight shadow on that panel. I'm actually going to accentuate that a little bit more. So I'll show you what I mean. Let's brighten up the whole selection first. Then I'm going to reselect. I'm going to choose the gradient tool again and pull over from actually I have to go the other way. That's going to do the wrong thing. I'm going to pull over from the right. And you see the right half, before and after, the right half is brighter, the left half is not because of the gradient that I add. Let me unselect that. Again, it's going to add some dimensionality to it. I did that a couple times here and there, but let's darken one of the pieces as well. Load selection, call it darken 1. Again, that's not directly facing the building, and so I want to darken that a little bit. I'm going to choose a curves adjustment layer, not too much really. I'm going to pull that down. In fact, what I want to do here is actually darken it, but also add some contrast. So if we pull down, on the left side, but pull up a little bit on the right, overall, you'll see it's darker, but it added contrast as well. And I did this kind of throughout the building. But let me see if I saved any of the selections of the stairs, because I did not. I'll show you what I did. I'm going to just go to my polygonal lasso tool. I'm going to do this pretty quickly. Let me move this out of the way. I kind of like this stone here coming up towards the building. And I wanted to brighten that up. Again, it acts as sort of a leading line. So I'm going to pull a curves adjustment layer. I'm going to pull up. That's pretty cool. Also, this wall over to the right, what I did was I added a bit of a gradient to this as well. I'm just going to do it really quickly, but you'll see the selection that I made. I'm going to use a curves adjustment layer. I'm going to pull down. That's going to darken the entire selection. but then I'm going to reselect it, choose a gradient, and pull from the outside in. So it's creating a bit of a gradient, a bit more interest on that wall. Let me deselect, and here's the before, here's the after. I think it also draws the eye in towards the building as well. Again, I added some contrast to the stairs that are climbing up there as well. But let me do the before. This is what we had before, and then the after ended up being this. Again, you could do this a gazillion different ways. This was kind of my approach to it, but I came up with something that I think is kind of interesting and very different than what you see in New York anyway. Listen, if you like the video, it does help just to give me a like, put a thumbs up, and if you like this kind of content, architectural, landscape, studio work now, I do photo critiques, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos. And until next time.